At the very bottom of the ocean, there are giant stone structures and long hallways. According to our history books, these places should not exist. For a long time, scientists said that early humans were very simple. They said we didn't start building big things until much later. But these 5 underwater cities prove that the history we were taught is wrong. We are diving deep into the dark water to see buildings that defy logic. Imagine giant stone slabs that are so heavy that no modern crane could lift them. These massive rocks are sitting miles below the waves. From perfect corners to straight streets, these 5 drowned cities show a lost level of technology. It is a power that was swallowed by the sea. Modern science cannot explain how the early people carved these massive stones. This happened before recorded history even began. Who actually built them? And how did they do it? Today, we look at the ruins that science cannot explain. We are questioning everything we know about the past. Once you see what is hiding under the waves, you will never look at our history the same way again. Off the coast of Japan, hidden deep under the waves, sits a structure that breaks all the rules of nature. It is known as the Yonaguni Monument. At first, people thought it was just a strange rock. But when divers went down to look, they found something mind-blowing. They found a giant stone pyramid. It is as big as a stadium. The most shocking part is the precision. The monument is full of perfect 90-degree angles and flat, stone terraces. Nature does not usually make straight lines or perfect corners. These look like they were carved by a master builder. There are even stone steps and a long, straight road that runs around the base. For years, scientists argued that this was just a natural rock formation. But in recent times, new sonar scans changed everything. These scans let us look inside the stone. They found hidden internal chambers and long hallways. These are not holes made by the ocean. They are hollow rooms that were built to be lived in. Now, here's the problem for history books. This area has been underwater for at least 10,000 years. That means it was built at the end of the last ice age. According to history, humans back then only lived in simple tents. They did not have the tools to carve giant stone cities out of solid rock. If Yonaguni is a city, it means an advanced civilization existed thousands of years before we thought possible. It forces us to rewrite the entire story of the human race. It shows that someone, or something, was building massive monuments while the rest of the world was still living in caves. Deep in the Gulf of Cuba, 120 feet below the ocean surface, lies the remains of a massive kingdom. This is the ancient city of Dwarka. When divers first found it, they didn't just find a few rocks. They found huge sandstone walls, paved roads, and stone anchors that stretched for miles across the seafloor. For a long time, experts believed that big cities didn't exist in India this long ago. But carbon dating on wood and pottery found at the site shows that this city is over 9,000 years old. That makes it one of the oldest cities ever found on Earth. It existed thousands of years before the Great Pyramids of Egypt were even a dream. The architecture here is what really scares the experts. The city was built with huge blocks of stone that fit together perfectly. These walls were built to survive the powerful tides of the ocean. Recently, new underwater drones used laser technology to map the entire area. They found that the city was planned out in a perfect grid, with wide streets and large public buildings. How did people 9,000 years ago have the math skills to plan a city this way? And how did they move stone blocks that weigh several tons? The stories say the ocean rose up and swallowed the city in a single day. Science now proves that the sea levels did rise at the end of the Ice Age, exactly when the legends say Dwarka disappeared. It isn't just a story anymore. It is a real place that proves our ancestors were much more advanced than we ever imagined. Pavlopetri is the oldest submerged town in the world. It sits just a few feet under the clear blue water of the Mediterranean Sea. Unlike other sunken cities, you can clearly see the layout of the entire town. There are houses, courtyards, and even a complex plumbing system that still sits on the ocean floor. What makes this city a mystery is how it was built. Scientists have found that the town had a very advanced design for its time. The houses were built with separate rooms for sleeping and cooking. They even had built-in stone toilets and drainage pipes. This level of engineering was not supposed to exist thousands of years ago. A research team used new 3D scanning technology to reconstruct the city. They found that Pavlopetri was a massive trading hub. The people here were world-class sailors and merchants. They used standardized weights and measures that matched those found in other parts of the world. This proves that there was a global trade network long before we thought it was possible. But the most chilling part of Pavlopetri is the graves. There are stone tombs built right into the floors of the houses. The people lived and slept right above their ancestors. Why did they stay so close to the dead? And what were they afraid of? The city was hit by a massive earthquake around 1000 BCE. The ground literally opened up and pulled the entire town into the sea. Today, as you swim over the ruins, you can still see the door frames and the stairs. It is a haunting reminder that even the most advanced cities can be erased by the power of the earth. We're halfway through the 5 ancient cities swallowed by the ocean. If you want to see more videos like this, hit subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. For centuries, Heracleion was a legend. Greek historians wrote about a rich Egyptian port city where the gods were worshipped in massive temples. But then, it vanished. No trace of it could be found on land. It was as if the city had never existed. In 2000, a team of underwater archaeologists made a stunning discovery. 6 miles off the coast of Egypt, they found the lost city, buried under layers of sand and mud. What they found was a true spectacle of ancient engineering. Unlike Pavlopetri's small houses, Heracleion was filled with massive stone temples and towering statues. The most famous discovery is a collection of 3 colossal granite statues, each over 16 feet tall. They were found perfectly upright, still standing on their original pedestals, despite being underwater for 1,200 years. These statues were so heavy that it took modern cranes and complex engineering to lift them from the seabed. How did the ancient Egyptians carve, move, and erect these multi-ton monoliths without any modern machinery? Heracleion was a network of canals, just like Venice. It was a thriving, bustling port city. But recently, new scans of the seabed revealed the terrifying truth of its demise. A series of natural disasters, likely a massive earthquake and a tidal wave, turned the clay soil under the city to liquid. To this day, the seabed is covered in hundreds of shipwrecks, a silent witness to the port's final, devastating moments. In 2001, a team of explorers was mapping the ocean floor near Cuba. They weren't looking for cities, they were looking for sunken treasure ships. But when their sonar hit the bottom, they found something that stopped them in their tracks. At a massive depth of 2,000 feet, they saw giant, symmetrical stone structures. These weren't just rocks. The images showed perfect squares, triangles, and what looked like giant pyramids spread across the sand. Here is why this is a nightmare for scientists. To get a city 2,000 feet underwater, it would have to be at least 50,000 years old. Back then, humans were not supposed to know how to build houses, let alone giant stone pyramids. Some experts say it must be a natural rock formation, but others say nature doesn't make perfect right angles and smooth, flat walls like these. In recent times, new deep-sea drones were sent down to get a closer look. They found massive blocks of granite that look like they were cut with modern tools. These blocks are stacked on top of each other to form long walls and circular plazas. It looks like a city plan that was made by a master architect. If this is a real city, it is the oldest and deepest one ever found. It would mean that a high-tech civilization lived in the Caribbean long before the Ice Age ended. Were these the people who started the legend of Atlantis? Or is there a part of our history that was erased by the deep ocean? We may never have all the answers. As we look at these 5 drowned cities, one thing is clear. The ocean is not just a body of water. It is a massive graveyard for a world we have completely forgotten. There are gaps and glitches that we are only just beginning to understand. The physical evidence is right in front of us. The only question left is, what else are we missing? If you would love to find out more about the lost knowledge, mysteries, and dark history hidden deep in the shadows of planet Earth, make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications.